Their wedding colors are blue and gold. Akaashi likes to think that those two colors shouldn't go together, but this combination does. It's a neat mix of both of them. The ceremony is more of the vibe of Bokuto's fiancé, but the reception is very Bokuto. Akaashi only knows this because he was an extensive part of the wedding planning. The wedding is themed a dark navy blue and a brilliant gold, the white arch at the altar adorned with gold roses, green vines and stems. The suits are light gray, save for Bokuto's. Akaashi looks horrible in his fixing his blue tie over the white button-up and feeling incredibly itchy as he waits for Bokuto to finish changing. He taps his foot on the floor of the dressing room, ignoring the nausea. The venue is beautiful, a hotel with elegant golden chandeliers and soft carpets. The dressing room is no different, the shining silver floor mirror mocking Akaashi, reflecting his face, covered in makeup to hide red eyes. Akaashi doesn't cry often, but the last few years have been testing those limits. He's been to the bar so many times he almost hooked up with the bartender. But no, Bokuto Koutaro's still the only one he thinks about like that. Akaashi remembers when he'd first realized, and he'd thought about telling someone but kept it a secret. In the end he realized too late. Anyway, he'd fucked up his chances the moment he started to realize his feelings, because he's a coward who didn't want to be faced with rejection, so he never told a soul. Kyoru figured it out. Kenma was next with Akaashi's permission. They told Yaku and Hinata. Tenma figured it out about a year after they worked together. Bokuto's girlfriend never found out. Nobody else knows. Akaashi would like to keep it that way. Hinata and Kageyama got married first. They've even got this even weirder competitive tension between them ever since Kyoru and Kenma went next. Akaashi was actually happy to be the best man. Yaku and level up drunk somewhere in Europe. But when they came back there was a party. Akaashi much preferred that. There was no time to be jealous because he was already wasted. He remembers taking an equally plastered Bokuto to the bathroom to throw up that night, stroking his back over the toilet. That night Bokuto told Akaashi he wanted to propose. And then he enlisted his help, and who was Akaashi to refuse? Bokuto's girlfriend is one of Akaashi's close acquaintances. When she wanted to confess, she came to Akaashi. When she needed date ideas, she came to Akaashi. When she wanted to plan their first anniversary gift, she came to Akaashi. She's Bokuto's girlfriend, and yet she came to Akaashi. Because you've known him since forever, she'd always say. Akaashi also has loved him since forever. She'll never know that, though. She confessed at the Christmas party they had at Kyoru's house. Akaashi knew it was happening, because he was the one who told her Bokuto's a sucker for grand gestures. Akaashi hates it, and he'd probably never sacrifice his dignity to do it for someone. But she would. Bokuto got drunk but not too drunk. Akaashi made sure of that. The others helped her with the rest. Akaashi was put on Bokuto duty, not that he minded. Akaashi and Bokuto don't talk about love much. Akaashi pretends he doesn't love anyone, and most people don't believe he feels love either way. Bokuto does, but he doesn't push when Akaashi says there is no one. But there has always been someone for Bokuto, because he spends late nights talking about beautiful eyes and wide pink lips touching his cheek after they won a game. It's a slow kind of torture nowadays. Akaashi falls asleep with a beating heart and wakes up with a heavy weight on his shoulders, shoving himself to the other side of the bed and escaping to the bathroom, hating himself and wishing he hadn't been such a stupid kid. If he hadn't been a coward, then he and Bokuto could have been together a long time ago. Bokuto and his girlfriend live together. Bokuto shares beds with her now. And Bokuto will share a bed with her for the rest of our lives. Bokuto's excited Rambo reaches Akaashi's ears through the door. Akaashi, I'm getting married today. I know, go, Bokuto. Akaashi stopped calling Bokuto by his first name a long time ago. Still, he slips sometimes. Finish changing and get out. I know you need help with your tie. I don't know how to tie them all fancy. And I'm coming. Alashi sighs softly, waiting. Bokuto proposed to his girlfriend at the restaurant where they had their first date. It's a block away from the bar where Akaashi drank himself numb. That same night he's seen her ring. He's seen Bokuto's proposal notes. He doesn't want to see any more. Unfortunately, here he is at their wedding, seeing everything, including how Bokuto looks when he opens the door, stepping into the room and stopping Akaashi's heart. How do I look? Bokuto asks with a grin, but he was shifting nervously. He's wearing the same white button-up and blue tie, but his tuxedo is black. It's cut to hug his frame, his shoes are polished, his hair is all dolled up the same with his pretty face, and Akashi wants to hates everything about it. He looks like an angel. He's beautiful. It looks good. Akashi lies. Thanks. Bokuto smiles at him, the one that reaches his eyes, and Akashi tries to remember how to breathe. Come here. Let me fix your makeup. Bokuto obediently steps forward. It's almost like a habit, something like an instinct, at this point. And my tie? Akashi sighs. And your tie? He reaches for Bokuto's tie and brings the soft fabric in between his hands, relishing in the lack of space between them. The inches setting them apart are tantalizing, painful but so good. Akashi brings it into a knot, pulling it taut and letting it lie on Bokuto's chest. He steps away, releasing a breath, and rummages around for his makeup while Bokuto thanks him for the tie. When Akashi turns back around, his stuff in hand, Bokuto is beaming at him, smile wide and disarming. Akashi's stomach flips over itself. Bokuto shuffles forward without having to be asked, and Akashi starts by dusting his face with powder. He doesn't need much else. He's close to Bokuto once again, closer than before, leaning into Bokuto's personal space, far too close to his lips due to the height differences. Akashi brushes Bokuto's eyelids with the brush. Bokuto's eyes flutter closed as Akashi works. When Akashi's done, Bokuto steps back and Akashi mourns the space between them. Bokuto opens his eyes and stares at himself in the mirror, and Akashi feels nothing but pain. He's gorgeous. Akashi hates it. Akashi loves him. Akashi, you're amazing. No, you are. It's merely a simple retouch. You're all done now. You ready? Bokuto turns away from the mirror and looks right at Akashi. He's breathless, flushed pink and smiling wide. He's nervous, because of course he is. He wouldn't stop mumbling while changing, but now he looks sure. Akashi hates sure far more than nervous. Bokuto turns his smile to Akashi. He looks away. I'm ready. Bokuto says, no cold feet, no hesitation. I'm getting married. Akashi, can you believe that? Yes. Akashi answers tiredly. Yes, I can. It's just his luck, anyway. Bokuto's eyes are shining as he adjusts his jacket. Akashi can't stand it anymore, so he walks to the other side of the room and opens the dressing room door. Stepping outside to find the bride, he walks across the hall and finds Bokuto's fiancée in her own room. As she smooths down her dress, she looks up when he walks in. Oh, Akashi. She greeted him happily. How's Gao? Not crying yet. He's going to ruin his makeup eventually, though. She laughed gently at that and jokingly said, all that hard work, down the drain. Is it even worth it to do his makeup? Well, he insisted. Akashi shrugs. He can never refuse Bokuto. Nobody can refuse him, huh? She giggles, voicing Akashi's thoughts. She does a little spin in her dress, the tulle swirling around her body. How do I look? She asks Akashi, grinning up at him with bright eyes. Beautiful. Akashi answers truthfully. She's not Bokuto. He doesn't have to hide what he thinks about her. She's incredibly pretty. She hides behind her hand. I didn't expect you to be honest. Since when are you such a sap? I am not a sap, and I'm not a liar either. Akashi argues he only lies when it comes to Bokuto. Lies and lies and lies, especially to himself. She laughs, and it sounds like bells, wedding bells. God, Akashi hates himself for the unpleasant thought all of a sudden. You're the best, Akashi. Thank you. Akashi forced himself to give a light-hearted smile and gave her a one-armed hug as he makes his way to the door. I'm going to get back to Bokuto. Akashi doesn't even make it back to the dressing room before he sees Bokuto, who's rushing down the hallway and almost runs into him. You can't see the bride yet. No, I was looking for you. I'm starting to freak out. Not ready anymore? Are you getting cold feet? What? No. Bokuto's eyes widen. Just a little worried, I guess. Yep. Akaashi steers Bokuto by the shoulders back into the dressing room and shuts the door. Bokuto nods. Akaashi sighs. Akaashi is the only one fully capable of tending to Bokuto's mood. He's been doing it since forever, that he felt like it's his job to fix it. He's resigned himself to his fate of spending the rest of his life assuring Bokuto and getting him out of his slumps. It's the least he can do. Bokuto. Akaashi starts, looking at him right in the eye. She loves you. I love you. She has since the start of your career. That's a long time. I always have. There's nobody in the world she would pick over you. That I would pick over you. She's patient with you, tends to your needs, and comes right away when you say you need her, and she did all of that because she loves you. Then again, didn't Akaashi did exactly all of that ever since he was 16? Even until today. So, where did it go wrong? Why was he not the one who's with Bokuto now? She loves you just as much as you love her. Bokuto is silent for a moment, before his eyes fill with tears that don't spill over, so his makeup stays intact, and then he's throwing his arms around Akaashi's torso and holding on tight. Akaashi freezes for a moment, before hugging him back. Once again, Akaashi revels in the closeness. Thanks, Kashi. You always know how to make me feel better. Yeah. You're welcome, Bokuto. Hey. Bokuto says into Akaashi's shoulder. Why don't you call me Cow anymore? We promised to be more casual with our names. Akaashi blinks. Well, removing the honorifics is enough besides. That's her name for you now. It was yours first. It was barely audible, but Akaashi hears it and Bokuto doesn't protest, say anything more, so Akaashi just holds him tighter. A few seconds later Bokuto pulls away, wiping at his eyes and somehow not smudging in his makeup. His smile is lopsided as he aims it Akaashi's way. It's time. Go get married. Akaashi pushes open the door, holding it for Bokuto. He steps through, looking at Akaashi thoughtfully. Kashi. What is it? I'm really glad you're here with me. Me too. Akaashi hates lying. He walks down the aisle with one of the maids of honor once they got to the altar, and once Akaashi takes his place next to the officiant, 𝗁𝗂, who was beside him, catches Akaashi's eye and nods sympathetically at him. He knows it's not pity. 𝗁𝗂 knows him better than that, so he nods back. 𝗁𝗲 is in the front row. His face was stoic as always, but he also looks far too sober for a wedding. It's Akaashi's fault. Everything is his fault. He wouldn't have come to the wedding, not wanting to ruin everyone's day, but then Bokuto had asked him to be his best man. He made it a whole extravagant ceremony, because it's Akaashi the idiot tried and failed to cook for him, and Akaashi just couldn't say no to that effort and the look Bokuto had given him after he said yes, well, that made it worth it. Akaashi regrets it now. Bokuto walks down the aisle, his mother at his arm. She's already bawling. Bokuto is somehow keeping it together. He meets Akaashi's eyes and grins big, and he tries to gather a smile back. Bokuto's mother follows her son's gaze and lands on Akaashi, and he sees the concern in her eyes. She knows too. But it's her son's wedding, and the concern is quickly replaced with joy. Bokuto takes his place next to him, fiddling with his tie. This is it, Akaashi. I'm getting married. Yes, you are. Akaashi says tiredly, trying his best not to sigh. Don't ruin your makeup. No promises. The bridal chorus starts to play. Everyone stands up, and Bokuto's eyes are entranced by the aisle. Everyone watches the person walking across it, and Akaashi can't possibly blame them. She is breathtaking. Her eyes are shining with tears, and her smile can't fit her face. She walks down the aisle, and Akaashi frowns at himself. It's not her fault. He loves Bokuto. Akaashi. She's happy. There's nobody else he'd want for Bokuto. When she takes her place at the altar, clasping Bokuto's hands, he finally bursts into tears. He's crying as she recites her vows, so happy and full of love, and he's crying when he says his own vows, struggling to get through them but still getting the sentiment across. That's when she starts to cry. Akaashi takes out the tissues he kept in his pocket for this very moment, earning him a laugh from everyone who saw him hand them over. He's the best man for a reason. The officiant jokes. Akaashi winces. and then they kiss. Someone comes out of nowhere to throw pink petals over the happy couple, and when they pull apart both their faces are red, smiles so wide it hurts to look at. Bokuto is still crying. Akashi closes his eyes. He can't watch this anymore. When he opens them, both are halfway down the aisle and 𝒁𝒂 is at his side, helping him stand. Next thing he knows, he is stumbling down the aisle, 𝒁𝒂 helping him without saying a word. His vision is hazy as he sees Bokuto leaving her side to come to his, asking 𝒁𝒂 what's wrong as Akashi's nausea burns and boils and makes him sick and exhausted. Akashi vaguely hears himself tell Bokuto that he's fine. 𝒁𝒂 says he's got him, and Bokuto gives Akashi a concerned look, a short hug and a reassuring smile before leaving. Akashi's legs threaten to crumple. His soul is beaten and abused, bruised to the bone with nothing but Bokuto 𝒁𝒂. He throws up in the bathroom before returning to the ceremony. Akashi lasts halfway through the reception. He gets through his best man's speech without saying anything incriminating, although he does make Bokuto cry of happiness, this time, but it was still because of him. He sits through the toasts while intermittently sipping his wine. He survives seeing her feeding Bokuto a piece of cake, tries to look away during the first dance. Once it dissolves into a general party, Akashi goes straight to the open bar. 𝗁𝗂 joins him after his first whiskey. They lean against the counter together, Akashi staring at Bokuto dancing with her. He can hear their laughs from here. Akashi downs his second drink. "Hey, you've been over here for a while. If I keep drinking it'll go by faster. Don't get too drunk. You never know what you might say." "I know. Akashi, how are you holding up?" 𝒁𝒂 appears, sliding into a bar stool next to 𝒁𝗂. "Terrible." Akashi's done lying. "I know how long I can do this. 3 more hours, and then it's over." "But it's not just 3 hours." Akashi says. His voice cracked a little and he could feel, and 2 pairs of eyes turned to him in concern. "How the hell am I supposed to do this for the rest of my life? I don't know, but you're a strong person, and when you don't feel like you are, we'll always be here to keep you up. I'm so tired of this." Akashi whispers, ashamed. He hates being vulnerable. "It's so tough, I just can't do it anymore." "I know. But we've got you. You're not alone in this. You never will be as long as we're around." "Thanks." Akashi chokes, not wanting tears to spill. For being here, putting up with me and my stupid pining. I know it's not fun." And before the two of them could say anything more, Akashi interjects, because the conversation is getting too touchy-feely for him. "Excuse me, I need some air." He pushes off the counter and cuts across the dance floor, head lowered as he tries to escape the pumping music and get to the quiet outdoors. He walks fast, hoping he doesn't get stopped. No such luck. Akashi gets 5 peaceful minutes outside before Bokuto finds him. "Kashi, hey." Bokuto closes the door behind him and sits on the stairs next to him. "I haven't talked to you since the reception started." "It's fine, you're busy with your new wife. But I want to talk to my best friend, too." Bokuto pouts. "You looked kind of sad over by the bar. Are you okay? Is the noise in the crowd getting overwhelming? I can ask them to turn the music down." "It's fine, I went outside to get away from it." "Okay." Bokuto nods, bringing his knees to his chest. "This whole day feels kind of surreal." "I know." Akashi responds, "Because it does. I can't believe you're married." "Neither can I." Bokuto laughs and then gazing off into the distance. "Back then, sometimes, I daydream about this day too. No one, my best man, you know? There was this empty spot in my wedding party, your hypothetical wedding party." Akashi lightly jokes to fend off the guilt because sometimes, he used to daydream about this day too. "Yeah, but that's besides the point. But then I met you and I got you right next to me on one of the happiest days of my life. I'm grateful for that." "Me as well, I'm glad you're happy, Bokuto." "Thanks, Kashi." They sit in silence, Akashi taking another sip of his drink. Bokuto stares at the stars. Akashi stares at him. Bokuto sighs dreamily. "Akashi, how did I get so lucky meeting you?" But it was quite the opposite. How did Akashi get so lucky? Once, He thought that they were the protagonists of this world, and it hurts to think about it because it hurts to remember how pitifully late he'd been. Lately when it comes to Bokuto, everything hurts. I guess you're welcome. It was meant as a joke, but Bokuto turns his head to look at him, smiling. Thank you, Akaashi. He opens his mouth to reply, to ask what Bokuto could possibly be thanking him for, but then the door opens and she pokes her head out. There you guys are. She smiles. Come back in. Okay. Bokuto says happily, getting up from the stairs. Akaashi follows. When they got back inside, she leads Bokuto up to the stage where they gave their toast. She has a microphone set up and she lowers it to fit her height while Bokuto watches, slowly catching on to what's happening. Next to him, Akaashi's nausea starts again. When she first confessed to Bokuto, she stole the microphone at Kyo's house and started the music. She sang a love song to him, looking right at him and smiling nervously. Bokuto had blushed, flustered, but looked at her so adoringly. Their first kiss happened as soon as she finished singing. Akaashi doesn't have memories of the party after that. He was far too drunk. Akaashi, is she doing what I think she's doing? Yes, she is. Have fun. She clears her throat into the microphone before starting to sing. It's the same song from the beginning, their song most people are awing by now. Akaashi stays silent next to him. Bokuto's flushed and his gaze holds so much love for her, just like old times. Akaashi tries to look anywhere else, but Bokuto rips his eyes away from her for a moment, just to meet Akaashi's. Bokuto smiles, and the world stops. The music quiets, everything moves in slow motion, and Akaashi's vision is nothing but Bokuto's beautiful face, tearing his gaze away from his new bride just to smile at his old friend. Akaashi's breath hitches as Bokuto's eyes widen and crinkle with something so joyful, so happy. Akaashi can't help but smile back, even as he falls apart. Akaashi wonders what it feels like to be happy. Bokuto turns back to her, the world starts moving again, and the music returns. Akaashi sighs, smile falling away. She finished singing, making her way to Bokuto. Just like their very first day, 5 years ago at the Christmas party. Akaashi's got horrible deja vu. They meet in the middle, both smiling, both so happy the way they deserve to be, and then they're together forehead to forehead, hand in hand. When their lips meet, Akaashi turns away. Akaashi has never let anybody see him so vulnerable, and he doesn't plan to, especially Bokuto. Bokuto can't see him like this, so he goes back to the bar, grabs another drink, and then wanders to the parking lot and sits in his car. He grips the steering wheel with white knuckles. He can hear the laughs and cheers from inside the reception hall, the music vibrating into Akaashi's skin. He can't tune it out, it becomes distorted in his mind. His forehead digs into the wheel, his nails digging into his soft flesh. Small marks start to pinprick his palms, purple and white and red in pain. A prison he can't escape.